Hey, how's it going? Austin here to spend a little bit of time with you. Got quite a bit I want to cover in this particular session. We've got a very interesting scenario playing out. The stock market is effectively crashing. We've got a flash crash going on right now over in the stock market side. Crypto is reacting really, really well. Going to show you that in this particular segment here in just a minute. But I wanted to, again, thank you for your time. Hit that subscribe button, please, and drop a like on this. I would greatly appreciate your help in that regard. And so let's get in this. We're going to cover a lot. And yeah, let's go. Okay. So, quite a bit going on right now. So, right now in the stock market, as of the recording of this, the stock market is down dramatically. Look at this. The stock market is down 571 to 595. That's the Dow 30 down 1.68%. The NASDAQ down 186. And then if we flip our attention over to crypto's looking fantastic, right? So crypto is up as a comparison to this scenario playing out, which I think is really interesting. This to me shows the run, if you will, the run to crypto when quite a bit from a negative perspective is going on the traditional finance side of the house. So look at this. So things are going well right here. You got Bitcoin lifting 1%, Ethereum lifting 1% up, etc. So in the top 20, it looks like Solana, Litecoin are kind of percentage gainer moves up here. Shib's up 0.5%. So things are looking good there. But this to me is really the lead story where you've got the traditional finance market, Dow 30, NASDAQ going down dramatically. Now, this is all directly related to kind of two scenarios, which we're going to dig into right now, where the banks are sinking, going down because of what we know in the capacity of, First Republic and what's playing out there with that, that bank failure. And then you've also got the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting that started today. We're gonna talk about that more here in a little bit, but it's really this banking story that is the lead story there. So yeah, interesting scenarios. So please, definitely drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and would love to say thank you for doing that. So yeah, this is interesting. I mean, this is one of the reasons I wanted to make this this video for you, kind of coming live here with this 567 drop compared to the move up. Look at this, and crypto's even now up a point. So we've moved up 0.25% just in the last 3 or 4 minutes here. Okay, and so I really like what I'm seeing there. So we got some good stuff there. I got to write something down real quick. So yeah, we're looking good there. So continuing kind of with this dialogue, we've got, crypto moving up in direct relationship or corollary to traditional finance, traditional stocks going down. Okay. Now I want to talk real quickly. Let's talk about kind of shift our attention and talk about the Federal Reserve meeting that we've got going on right now. Okay. So it started today. The Federal Reserve meeting started today. Today's not the day that we really care about per se. Okay. So we've got the Fed starting today, their FOMC meeting. So we've got that starting today. It's tomorrow, May 3rd, is the day that we really, really care about. That is the day that we're going to get, Chairman Chairman Powell is going to Chairman Powell is going to come out, give his speech around 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's going to come out and talk about, now here's what we're expecting. So we're expecting in the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting, we're expecting that 25 basis point raise. Okay. That number is effectively built into the market. And what we will see out of this, though, is what is Chairman Powell, who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, what's he going to say in his speech? That's what everybody's literally going to be watching. They're going to be like, what's his body language? How many times is he going to say the word data? How many times is he going to get asked them the same question over and over again? All this kind of stuff. But that's what we're going to really be watching for is tomorrow in that speech is how's that going to play out? What's going to happen? What are we going to see there? Okay. We're expecting a 25 basis point raise in the meeting tomorrow when it's announced, and the announcement will go live about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My plan is to be live on my channel tomorrow. I'm sure Zach will be live as well. And to be looking at this. But we're really going to again be watching is Chairman Powell's speech. That's what we're going to be paying attention to. And I think what we're going to see is we might see crypto run. And I'm going to refresh this real quickly. Crypto continues to kind of, all right, we're still right about a percentage point up, but I want to refresh this, see how the stock market is moving. So the stock market is paring back a little bit of that loss. It's been as down as much as almost 600 points right there on the Dow 30. But it's, again, I think this move down, like I have said, is that this is directly correlated to the banks moving down, but you see a run to crypto. That's what you're seeing. We've been down in crypto for the last 24 to 36 hours. So you're seeing a run to crypto. That's what's really cool about this is people are now, because of the banking failures, they're starting to coming into crypto. Okay. So we are looking at a pretty interesting scenario playing out tomorrow, May 3rd, depending upon when you're watching this. We'll see how that plays out. We're going to be watching Chairman Greenspan. I keep saying that. It's funny. I keep thinking that. Chairman Powell. There you go. I'm going to have to write that. I'm going to have to tattoo that on my arm to see what he says. Now, if they do raise the interest rate 25 basis point, which is the consensus, then what's interesting about that is that's going to basically take us into the 5% range, kind of what the overall, what the rate is. And that takes us back to almost 2004 and 2005 levels. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be taking a look at that as that situation plays out tomorrow. Okay. So now what I want to do is shift my focus to SHIB. Let's talk about SHIB. Let's talk about what's going on with Shiba Inu. And this is something I really wanted to kind of lead off with. I saw this and I thought this was absolutely worth mentioning. Look, Shiba Inu investor misses making $1 billion with $2,000 investment in SHIB. Now, wouldn't that be absolutely insane? A $2,000 investment. This must have been way back in the early days if they had bought 2,000. So let me take a look at this. I haven't pre-read this. This would be called the biggest loss of all time. A Shiba investor missed making $1 billion with a $2,000 investment. So this particular investor sold early on, much before, began to rally before the big rally. Now, October 2021 was the big rally. That's the one where in October 2021, in that month, we went up 1,005% in the month of October 2021. I was there every single day living it. It was absolutely insanity. You kind of kept waiting for it to kind of, when is it going to go back? When is it going to start with that pullback, right? That chart was just going straight up. Go back and look at it. Go back and look at the October 2021 chart. It's absolutely parabolic. It was crazy. We reached our all-time high, 4 zeros and an 8, all that kind of stuff. So this is an interesting scenario playing out where this investor missed making $1 billion. Can you believe that? $1 billion. That's absolutely crazy. $1 billion missed. So let's see. So this particular investor purchased Shiba Inu in fourth quarter of 2020. It was trading at 10 zeros, and this particular one put $2,000 in. 25 trillion SHIB tokens. That's how much they were able to buy. And if they had held on, it would have been worth, looks like per this math, $1 billion. That's crazy. Instead, they sold, and it looks like it took a loss. Got the best of anxiety. Yeah, it's interesting how that played out. Think about that. What would you have done? $2,000 investment to lose out on $1 billion. So this particular investor, it turns out that he would now be worth $1 billion if I hadn't sold it. He has to live with that. Could you live with that? Could you live with that? I don't know. That's pretty crazy. Could you live with that? Oh, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. So let's move on. Let's now talk about kind of the overall state of the union of crypto. So let's take a look at what's going on in crypto. So right now, crypto is, like I said, moving up. Let's see if we've gotten back over. We've pulled back a little bit. So crypto looking really, really good. Actually, Bitcoin and Ethereum are both lifting really, really nicely there at 1.9 and 1.6. So they're looking good. And that's kind of what's the overall crypto. And I want to resort this on the 24-hour. Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. So out of the top 100 guys, Kronos is moving up. That's interesting. We haven't heard from Kronos in a while. It's up 4.5%. So out of the top 100, the biggest percentage move up crypto is Kronos, obviously crypto.com with only being up 4.5. So that shows you how far nothing's really much going on. We're still pretty soft. Now, what I want to do, let me look at volume here real quickly. We'll look at Bitcoin volume. So look, this is my point, kind of proves my point. Bitcoin volume is still down about 7%. Okay. So we still got a real note. We still don't have a real cut and dried kind of direction here as far as kind of the overall market move, because volumes are still a little bit light, but the market's starting to move up with Bitcoin moving up about 2%, giving up, Ethereum moving up a little bit. Now, this is all, again, back to kind of what's going on here in the overall stock market, okay? So you've got, so stocks are paring back a little bit of that loss. The Dow 30 has been down as much as 600 points here, all right? And so now this is directly correlated, as I've mentioned, banks, the First Republic, just the fallout from that. I think that's what you're seeing. This is really, it does say, Fed meeting gets underway, but there's nothing going on with the Fed right now. The announcement's coming tomorrow, May 3rd, on what the Fed's going to do. We're expecting a 25 basis point raise. That's what we're expecting. So yeah, this is not really hugely surprising, but crypto right now looking really, really good, as a percentage, up, right? We've got, like I said, Dow 30 down about 500, crypto up about 0.5%. And crypto's been down in the last 24 to 36 hours, kind of leading up to today. So again, this is kind of my words. You're seeing kind of a run to crypto scenario, air quotes, a run to crypto scenario playing out here, really looking really, really good. All right. So just kind of continuing on, guys. I just want to keep walking you around the park and kind of let you guys know. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. Please drop a like. I would greatly appreciate it. All right. So I want to shift my attention now. Let's talk about some meme coins. Let's talk about what's kind of going on in the meme coin world. Okay. Meme coins have continued to kind of be the main story here. And so let's take a look at some of them that are out there. So this is one that I want to bring your attention to, Sharby. Now, Sharby is one that I have definitely partnered with. I am a partner with Sharby, but they've coming back from some chart move down, if you will, looking up, they're up 37% right now. So it's one that you might take a look at is Sharby. Let me continue to kind of get this chart a little bit here for you. It's a 12-hour chart, but not overall good looking chart. You had this kind of move down right here, and it's kind of coming back. Now that's a meme coin there that's a community coin, great one, associated with launching on the Shibarium network. So that's one that you might want to look at. Right there. We've got, of course, traditionally, let's take a look at some of the other big ones. Pepe, we all know about Pepe. So Pepe is continuing to kind of do its thing. And that's a absolutely amazing looking chart. If you take a look at that, I would consider Pepe to kind of be the king of meme coins right now. Sorry, my nose is itching. I have horrible allergies this time of the year. So Pepe just continues to really do nicely. We've got a little bit of a pullback right here on this candle right here. You see right where my cursor is, but overall, again, just parabolic growth. I happen to buy into Pepe pretty early back here. I bought in, I put about $4,000. I've got 2 bags, one on the DEX side, one over on LBank. And that 4,000 for me is turned into about north of 12,000 plus. So it's 3X, really, really nice. I wish I would have got way early in, but I didn't get quite here in here. So, here's the thing about Pepe and some of these others. By the way, I'm not partnered with Pepe. There's no compensation or anything. I'm just kind of letting you guys know about Pepe because this is kind of where the meme coin focus is right now, on Pepe and on Bob. I bought into Bob early on as well. So Bob continues to do real well, kind of similar chart to Pepe. It's been following along with Pepe. Now it's got a little bit more of a pullback here right now going on. We're on a 12-hour view here, kind of looking at that candle. But there's been a lot of other meme coins come out around kind of Bob and Pepe. You've had like Baby Pepe has come out. These are just kind of all variations on a theme. And I think people are are again almost a similar, little bit of a similar chart to Pepe. Like they're all kind of following each other. The meme coin season is here, and I think fundamentally people are getting involved in these meme coins because they want something fun to invest in. But I also want to remind you and keep you aware of the fact that when you put if, when, or if you do go into meme coins like this, be aware of what you're doing. Don't go all in. Don't put all your money in. A lot of them are going to be losers. Let's just call it what it is. And just if you do happen to put money into them, honestly, have the attitude of like, hey, if I put $500 into that new meme coin, it may go away. It may go into nothing. You know, I told the story whenever I bought Bob and Pepe. I bought like 9 or 10 of them, and 2 or 3 of them were straight up rug pulls. 2 or 3 of them I didn't make any money, and 2 or 3 of them I've done pretty well. And I'm only telling you that to illustrate the point that when you do this, if you're gonna buy these brand new meme coins that are coming out, go into it eyes wide open, be aware of what you're doing, and realize that there's inherently a lot of risk here. There's inherently a lot of risk when you do go into these brand new meme coins. Okay. So, all right. So I want to now, let's talk about kind of shift back to Shiba Inu. I want to share with you something on Shiba Inu that I thought was really, really interesting. It was this article right here where the CEO of Binance actually came out and was praising Shiba Inu while responding to Pepe. Now, this is not a slam against Pepe per se, but this is the CZ, who is the CEO of Binance, came out and was on an AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything, which is kind of a, like a kind of like a live stream session where he was talking about a lot of different things. And Shiba Inu came up, and there was some questions related to kind of Pepe. And so he had some CZ, who is again the Binance CEO, had some good things to say about Shiba Inu. I'm going to remind you that Shiba Inu, as far as Binance is concerned, moved out of this was about a month or so ago. Binance moved Shiba Inu basically kind of out of their high risk section, high risk section, and made it kind of a formal announcement that that Shiba Inu had kind of arrived. Air quotes are intended. Binance, I can't remember what it's called. Binance kind of has the section inside of their exchange for kind of new cryptos and kind of what they deem is to be riskier and things of this nature. And so about a month or so ago, they officially acknowledged and moved SHIB out of that section or that classification, if you will. And now, just said, hey, it's out. We're good. We love SHIB and all that kind of stuff. On another note, I don't know if you know this, is that Innovation Zone. Thank you. Is that on another note, Binance is the single largest holder of Shiba Inu. I don't know if you know that, which makes sense, right? They are the largest centralized exchange in the world. So, but Binance is the single largest holder of SHIB. Sorry, my allergies continue just to wreck my world here. So let's see. So, like I said, CZ expressed his approval for Shiba Inu over Pepe, despite Pepe moving up 38,000%. Now, this goes back to something I've said a lot. This is nothing against Pepe, but Pepe is a brand new emerging meme coin with self-admittedly no utility, just kind of a fun thing. And then you've got Shiba Inu. It's been around since August of 2020. It's withstood a couple of major bear runs, massive utility. From a SHIB standpoint, we've got Layer 2 blockchain, metaverse coming, game out there. Got a swap. There's one I'm forgetting. Oh, massively successful NFT drop from Shiba Inu, all that kind of utility, and oh, by the way, a massive 1.3 million plus holders on the DEX side, the SHIB army. Okay. So this is kind of CZ talking about Pepe says we actually have strict policies that even if we're talking with a project team, we forbid them disclosing anything about listings, etc. So this was somebody asking about, is Pepe going to be listed on exchanges, things like on Binance and stuff like that. I know that Pepe's been listed on a couple of them, but again, the point I'm really highlighting here is that the Binance is coming out and giving some positive press to SHIB, which is a really good thing. I like that that has, come out, if you will, in that regard. Okay. So with that said, I want to take a look real quickly at where crypto is at right now, kind of see what we're doing. Crypto continues to actually move up dramatically. We've got almost a north of a half point move up. We've got Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now even more propelling across kind of the board here, kind of moving up. Okay. I want to take a look at what's going on in traditional finance, because to me, this is the lead story about what's going on over there compared to the stocks, right? Where crypto is now starting to, I think, in this scenario, really being viewed as a hedge against what's going on in traditional finance, right? We've got a scenario playing out where this is a perfect example of seeing that live in action. You've got where in the traditional finance world, you've got the banking crisis, as people are calling it, that's going down right now as we see that playing out. And right now, as of this instant, you've got the stock market down 550 plus, effectively a kind of a small flash crash, if you will. And that's directly correlated and related to the First Republic, bank fiasco, if you will. And where you've also now got money coming into traditional finance. Oh, hey, somebody thought he would drop by. Hey, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Yeah, so just here talking about things in general, been kind of going around the horn here. I don't know if you saw this, Zach, where we've got, let me share the screen here, where we've got traditional, the stock market down 548 and crypto
Bitcoin's
has,
booming.
yeah, crypto's now, this is the highest it's been in the last 24 hours. So what do you think? So give me a break and talk. And I've been talking now for a while. What do you think? What do you think about what we're seeing with this traditional finance versus crypto thing?
I think finally, slowly but surely, Bitcoin and crypto is becoming the hedge that we thought it was, right? And I think it all started obviously with the banks that collapsed earlier this year. We've just had another recent scare as well, and I don't think it's over. I think we've talked about that. I think a lot of these regional banks, like we see a lot of times, there's going to be a lot of consolidation, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to come into the big three banks eventually, but people I think are finally waking up to the idea now that Bitcoin's been around for a long time, over a decade, that hey, maybe this Bitcoin thing and this crypto thing is not something to laugh at anymore. Maybe it's actually an interesting alternative investment. And I think that's what you're really seeing. And I mean, I can tell you this from personal anecdotes. I've got people that I'm friends with that 5 years ago, you said crypto, they said you're crazy. Now they're holding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's kind of the starting point for a lot of people. So I think it's directly correlated to what we're seeing happen in the traditional financial sector, and people are looking for a hedge. And gold has been performing pretty well too, right? To my knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think people are looking at all of those alternative investments, Bitcoin, crypto included.
Yeah. Um, I want to ask you something, kind of talk a bit to kind of get some perspective from you on something you just mentioned. Let's talk about demographics. Okay. So demographics, as far as kind of who owns what, by the way, today's my birthday. I don't even hardly even want to acknowledge that. So
34, right? 34.
yeah, actually I'm 39, but then you would say, dude, you don't look really very good for 39. No, I'm 54 today. Yeah, and I've got allergies that are killing me. I'm on a whole pharmacy of allergy medicine. So here's the question, Zach. So talk about demographics, because you kind of mentioned that a minute ago. So I'll set the stage, right? For my group of, say, 20 friends, guys that I hang around with, literally take me out of the equation. There's 3 that own crypto, and they started with Bitcoin, Ethereum. And there's, let's call it 10 that are open to the possibility of, and probably will. And then there's like another 8. They're like this. They're like, oh, no way. And heck, I'm getting into crypto. So what's
Right.
your stance of that versus kind of, your age demographic, 30s and younger, millennials, et cetera? Go.
So I'm going to go philosophical a little bit. You always fear what you don't understand. right? And I think
Yep.
that's really what it is. It's just a lack of education. So I think the people who are the loudest, voices in the room that are against crypto are probably the people who know the less
Oh,
and
absolutely.
know less than we
Yeah.
do, right? I mean, and listen, we're learning every day. We don't have it all figured out. There's a lot of people that have been in this thing since 2010 and they know way more, especially from the tech standpoint and all that. But a lot of people just hear what the media puts out, right?
Yeah.
That, crypto's not good, right? And here's why. And like so they just run with that narrative. Now, I think there's something else that happens too. Right now, if you're investing in traditional things in stocks and you have an IRA and you have a financial planner or an investment person that you go to, they're not allowed to talk about crypto.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Technically, right? Technically. And a lot of the times, if they are talking about crypto, they're saying exactly what you said to set up this conversation is you don't want anything to do with crypto. Okay. So
Yeah.
just don't even look over there.
Right.
Right? And what do people do? They don't look over there, right? And they just
But
reiterate the
but
same message that their accountant said and the media says that
but
it's
I
all
want to stop you there. Are they doing that because the person sitting on the other side of that desk who he can't sell you anything, he or she can't make any money. They
I
don't have
think
a
so.
product to sell you yet.
And I think most people look across that table and they say, well, that's the professional.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the person who does this for a living, so I'm going to listen to them, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's right when you're talking about stocks, but interestingly enough, obviously I'm not going to oust his name or anything like that. My accountant, the reason why I went with him, Austin, and you know this, the
Yep.
reason why I went with the accountant I did is because he's an investor in crypto. He understood MetaMask, he understood DeFi, he understood all that. So as soon as I found that, as soon as I found a person that an accountant that understood crypto, that's invested in crypto, I'm like, that's my guy because
Yeah.
that alone is hard to come by.
I concur. My accountant's not a crypto guy. Now he has a partner in the business who is a crypto guy, which obviously helps, right?
Yeah.
But I think so. You raise an interesting topic, education, but do you think it's a situation where it will always be that generational gap? I actually think there will, and I think a lot because here's part of it. The vast majority of people who are kind of managing their own money or have somebody managing it, they're really not paying attention. And they're just like, they're waiting for somebody to say, hey, you ought to buy Bitcoin. Hey, you ought to buy Ethereum. And you and I have talked about this a lot. So what's your final thoughts on that?
Well, okay, so I'm 33. So our, aside from crypto, the last big opportunity was the dot-com era. Really, right? To make life-changing wealth, to have, I mean, obviously, if I were investing when I was 18 just in the, good stocks, good mutual funds and all that, but most people aren't. Most people don't have the money, they're not educated, they don't teach that in school, right? You have to figure all that out. And especially if you don't have parents at home that invest themselves, like there's a huge gap there,
Yeah.
right? So I think a lot of people that are millennials my age and even and younger, obviously, they look at this as, wow, this is a vehicle that can allow me to retire. I read a stat the other day. Millennials on average need roughly, now this is a household, so this is two incomes, they need roughly $2 million to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. And I think people are seeing, oh my gosh, I'm already behind the eight ball. I've got student loan debt. I've got credit card debt. How can I
Right.
get there? How can I climb myself out of this hole? Well, one of the avenues is Bitcoin. One of the avenues is crypto because it offers the potential to make 10, 20, 30 times more than you can make in the stock market across 20 years.
Right.
And,
Right.
and I think anybody who's sitting there on YouTube or on Google that's searching, how do I better my life? How do I create financial freedom if I'm 30 and I'm already in debt? They're going to find that, right?
Right.
But I think to your point, people your age are, number one, they're just taking less risks, which they should at
Right.
their age. And they haven't grown up in it, right? And they just don't want to learn. They don't want to learn something new.
Okay. So I want to ask you, Zach, a question. And the question is, what do you think is the single biggest avenue that crypto is going to grow? And I'm talking now about from a macro standpoint. How does, and I know I just threw you under the bus. You're like, you didn't know that question was coming, but how do you envision, what do you think are some of the steps and some of the things that has to happen for crypto to go from, 1 trillion market cap now to back to 2.8, where we were back in the day, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trillion? What's your stance there?
I think first and foremost, crypto will grow with or without people on board, right? I mean, slowly but surely, it is being adopted more. And we saw that in the last bull run. But I mean, I think what you're really asking is like, what's that thing that's going to take us over the edge and to get people in their 40s and 50s to look at it? And I think it's regulation.
Okay.
Because I think once regulation comes, the narrative around in the media changes, right? Because now it's not looked at as this big bad stepchild over here, right? It's another asset class that's regulated, that's understood, that's here to stay, that's innovative, that's changing our lives in this way and that way and this way. The problem is it's doing all that right now, but those narratives aren't being put out to the masses, right? I mean, imagine if people on, the CNBCs or the Fox businesses and all these newscasts, imagine if they actually broke down how crucial and how important what XRP is doing and how much better it is than the Swift payment system that we've been using for decades.
As an example.
As an example, imagine if they actually broke that down and said, okay, this is how much better it is. And this is why it suits a global economy so much better than our old archaic system does.
Right.
That could help right there, right?
Right.
Why is Bitcoin so different? Well, they're not printing, Bitcoins and Bitcoins and Bitcoins. There's a finite supply, which, supply and demand shows us. Imagine if they went through these narratives that we know in crypto.
Well, hold on. So let's stop there. You said regulation, which I agree with, but let's also dig into that. What does that really mean? You're talking about regulation has to come down from on high to make crypto, air quotes coming, by the look safer or more legitimate, which I don't agree with, but we both know where that's coming from. And fundamentally, to me, regulation, and you know where I'm going with this, regulation unlocks the ability for who to be able to then go out and help grow. It's the insert, you go from there. I know you know where to take that.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if how many people have, huge portfolios out there, right? That are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, right? Imagine
with Schwab and Fidelity and that's really what I was trying to get at, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, the big dogs. Imagine if you can invest in Bitcoin right through your Charles Schwab account.
Exactly.
Right through your Fidelity account.
Yeah.
And there's some ETFs out there and all that, but why invest in a Bitcoin ETF? Just invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, like this, what is it? I don't even know what the ticker symbol is, like Bitto or whatever. And like, that's how people get exposure because it's less risky. It's like you're investing in Bitcoin without investing in Bitcoin. Just invest in Bitcoin. But then there's a learning curve on how to do that. Where should I have it on centralized exchange? Should I have it on a ledger? Where should I put it? Is it something physical? Like what is it? Right. Yeah. If it's an ETF, they're like, oh, it just sits on my Charles Schwab account. It's easy.
But that's what it really will play out. So I think to kind of land this plane, it's regulation, but regulation will again legitimize, right? And I hate that I have to do the air quotes because we all know it's legitimate, but it will legitimize it, but it will also open the door to institutional money. That's fundamentally, I think, what will bring crypto to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trillion plus. Go ahead.
To your point, I mean, legitimize, you're right. I mean, but I think even taking a step back before that, recognize it.
Recognize it, and then proactively, those money managers at Fidelity will proactively go to their clients and say, and you have said this a million times about, hey, why don't you do 1%? Add to that. So expand on that.
Okay, so most investment portfolio managers or whatever you want to call them, they'll say, okay, well, judging on your age and what your job is coming in, the money coming in, you should allocate maybe like 10%, go a little more risky here.
Yeah.
People, what do they do with that? They go into Apple, they go into, risky tech stocks. Like just include Bitcoin in that risky tech stock category, include Ethereum, right? There you go. I mean,
right.
There you go. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's what we already do. It's what most people already do that are in crypto. I mean, you make the argument we're probably a little heavily weighted in crypto, but that makes sense considering, we're in it every single day.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk now about this particular article that I found, and I want to throw this at you and kind of get your 2 cents. So this is over on Cointelegraph, the godfather of, and I keep doing this. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Godfather of AI resigns from Google, warns of the dangers of AI. So Zach, I kind of want your 2 cents on this. This is a really interesting title, and I think I want to talk about AI in general, but then I want to transition and let's talk about AI crypto as kind of a category, as kind of a space. So do you have any concerns, Zach, about AI? I mean, what's your 2 cents on AI? And then we'll move into kind of the AI crypto space.
It's interesting. I think, like everything else, it's not as good as it seems. It's not as bad as it seems. Like, because you have a lot of people in one camp that are like, oh my gosh, AI is going to just destroy us, right? I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's very similar to the internet, right? I mean, the internet has a lot of things that are great about it. The internet has a lot of things that are bad about it, or that hurts society, right? But I'm more of an optimistic person when it comes to that, because yeah, you could say like what social media is doing to kids with the internet, and oh my gosh, kids aren't going out and playing, right? But you could also say that, oh my gosh, you could talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere in the world. I mean, that interconnectivity, I mean, it's changed the way business is done. It's changed the way relationships are made, right? So I think there's a lot more benefit there than drawback. I think the same thing's going to happen with AI. Everybody's freaking out with Elon, like putting a chip in everybody's head. Like, you're not just going to have to, like, somebody's not going to, I hope not, somebody's not just going to like hold you down and put this chip in your head, damn it. Like, I mean, you're going to have to opt in. Like, so if you're a deaf person or something, like you might have to put this thing for Neuralink, and now you could hear. Like, it's going to be those sort of things. At least that's the way I've understood it. So I guess I'm somewhere in between. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly where it's going. I think here's what I do know. The entire economy is going to be flipped on top of its head.
Even more so than the internet flipped. Yeah.
100%. We're already seeing it. I mean, cashiers at the grocery store, gone. Toll booth workers, gone. I mean, think about all the things in like that kind of, customer service. I mean, any representative. I mean, half the time you can't get a human on the phone already. Yeah. Right. There's so in terms from an economic standpoint, it's going to change. I mean, look at Amazon. Half of an Amazon warehouse is robots.
Right.
I mean, already.
Well, and I think the one thing before we transition into AI crypto, I think the final thought on AI is, I think honestly, truthfully, the way that AI has been predicted in movies and media for the past 2 decades or so has got everybody's Terminator, has got whatever. I mean, insert any movie name here and AI. And so you have that as a baseline, part of our subconscious. So like AI is going to kill us all and all that kind of stuff. I think that's there. And I don't think I think that's part of it. I think that's something that nobody's really talking about, but that's part of it. And the technology is a game changer. I absolutely fundamentally agree. So what do you think about AI crypto as a space? I think it's going to be then it already is going to be one of the next biggest, hottest sectors there is.
Yeah. I think so. I think we get kind of bogged down in the AI crypto phrase. What it really is, it's big data. It's big data. It's being able to store big data in a way that we've never been able to do before. I mean, really, what Cardano's trying to do is revolutionize the entire financial system in a continent, in Africa. That's one of the big things they're trying to do. How are they doing it? It's big data, and it's utilizing blockchain technology and AI technology. That's why SingularityNet has already partnered with Cardano, one of the largest AI cryptos out there. What do? Big data. They store and categorize big data. So I think that's really where the breakthrough is. Now, I think there will be niche currencies too that do something very selective. But I think the Singularity Nets of the world, I think, are going to be the big winners. And it's all about storing big data in a way that we've never been able to do. I mean, remember how groundbreaking the cloud was?
Yeah.
Now we're just advancing that technology.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I agree. And so I wanted to share this. So if you are interested in the AI category, the AI segment, By the way I found this, just FYI, because sometimes CoinMarketCap makes it kind of hard to find these different categories. I literally went to Google and typed in AI crypto CoinMarketCap. That's literally how I found it. And here you go. So, that wasn't it. Did I lose it? Where was it? Oh, there it is. Sorry, here you go. But this goes back, Zach, to what you were saying, big data, right? I mean, and that's how even CoinMarketCap is looking at this. But these are, this is the AI category, the AI segment, and the cryptos that make it up. The combined market cap of this segment is 5.6 billion, trading volume 603 million as of right this second. But some of these we've never even heard of. And they're in the look, these are in the top 100, 42, 60, 70, 95. So the top 4 or 5, I mean, I'm familiar with them. Some of them, so are you, but nobody's really even talking about these.
It's crazy. I mean, I just realized something. The entire market cap of AI and big data
Is
is
as big as Shiba Inu.
how about that? I just realized that when you said that number, I was like, wait a minute, that's pretty nuts. But you take the graph, which is the largest one. They've been around the longest. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to make data accessible to the masses. Basically, anyone can publish and access data, right? I mean, we have a friend in healthcare. Some of the things that they're talking about is eventually you're going to be able to sell your health data. What allows us to do that? It's AI. It's being able to store big data in a way that we've never been able to. So if everybody's equipped with, a wallet that stores your health data and you can decide which companies get access to that or not and monetize it, that's interesting, right?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. So I think AI crypto is going to be, one of those segments. And so kind of, from an investment standpoint, if you're wanting to get involved in this category, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, maybe allocate a little bit of money, if you will, maybe $300-$400 to some of these, not investing advice, of course, right? To some of these top guys right here, and just, because this is a category I think that's going to continue to get bigger. So what's your final thoughts on the AI segment before we move on?
I agree. I think there's going to be some huge winners, but if you want to mitigate your risk, I mean, the graph's been around a really long time. Mentioned Singularity Net, partnering with Cardano, really like them. Foxy was very early to fetch AI. They had a huge, big run earlier this year. Ocean Protocol is kind of more in that niche category. So yeah, I like a lot of these ones at the top.
Yep. All right, so kind of moving on, what is some of your thoughts, Zach, about what we're seeing in crypto? In fact, let me refresh the screen right now and see kind of where we're at. Okay, we've given back a little bit. What's kind of your thoughts on what we're seeing and what we're going to see the remainder of this week, Zach? We've still got tomorrow. We got the FOMC meeting announcement when the chairman. Earlier, I kept saying Chairman Greenspan. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old, right? I kept saying that, and it's Papa Powell. But what do we think we're going to hear from him tomorrow in his speech? Beyond that, we've got the ECB, which is basically, their version of the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting. It's going to happen later this week. And we got labor. So what do you think we're going to see the remainder of this week?
Like yesterday we talked about, I think the 25 basis points is kind of already baked in. We'll see. We could be wrong, right? I mean, we're guessing here, but I mean, based on what we've read and kind of what's been said out there by the powers that be, 25 basis points seems to be the direction. I think Powell's going to take a similar stance. He always kind of defers to kind of take it month by month, day by day. We'll see where the data points us, but this is what we had to do right here, right now, today with the 25 basis point hike. So it'll be interesting. I mean, there's always a curveball though, and people hang on every word. There's always one phrase or one sentence that tends to shift the market one direction or another.
Amen. Yeah. So do you think we're going to get a surprise out of the European counterpart meeting, the ECB kind of there on that side of the pond?
In terms of like
their announcement, I mean, it's basically their version of the FOMC meeting. And that's going to be supposed to happen Thursday. The only X factor for me there is the 10% interest rate number we got out of the UK, which was a surprise number. That spooked me a little bit. And I think because even if we get, here's where I'm going with this. Let's say Papa Powell is surprisingly not hawkish, bearish. If the next day we get a bearish sentiment coming out of the UK, or excuse me, out of Europe, that can send us backwards.
100%, because inflation is not just the United States problem right now.
I know.
I mean, it's a global problem, and in fact, as bad as it is in the United States, it's been worse in Europe.
Yeah.
So, 100%. And when we're talking about a global market like crypto, all of that data, as Foxy put the data, all of that data impacts the markets.
Yeah, I think that can derail it. I think tomorrow is going to be, unless Powell says something tremendously bearish, which we've watched enough of these. I think he's going to be very guarded. He's going to be very specific about the text he used, tone, all that stuff. But I'm basically considering it to be kind of a non-event, because the United States numbers are not bad. They're kind of in line with expectations. Labor seems to be cooling a little bit, which we got the labor reports, the farm and the unemployment report coming out later this week. It's to me, the X factor here is Europe, is what comes out of that meeting. And if they dramatically raise their respective interest rates, that's to me the X factor for this week.
Just given the information we have going in, the potential for something bad to come out of that is a little bit higher there.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. That's kind of what, what my concern is for this week. And then final thought here on this subject is we've got then the dialogue and so here's what they're really going to be pushing Powell for. Is this the last interest rate hike? Now we've got the June FOMC meeting set. And I think the indicator is the consensus is probably another 25 basis points there. But that's, I think, what they're also going to be looking at on tomorrow's announcement from Powell is what are you going to do in June? And then what are you going to do in the rest of the year? What's your 2 cents around that?
Right. And I think he's going to be very, very vanilla. He's never once said really like with full conviction that this is going to be the last rate hike or, we're going to cool down after this or after that. I think he's going to be very diligent and just say, we'll know more when we know more and kind of move on.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about Shiba Inu. I want to get your take on Zach, Shibarium and the projects launching around Shibarium. You got Koyo, you got Sharby. So what are your thoughts on this kind of entire ecosystem that is growing up, but that is forthcoming around that? And so, go ahead and give us some input there.
It's exciting. Shout out to Sharby too, by the way. They're up over 100%, at least at last check today.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Go ahead.
A massive spike back up there for them. And then, Koi has fallen off price point wise a little bit, but you can't deny that they've already burned the second most amount of SHIB than anybody else has individually. So, what they're doing is helping. Here's the thing. There's going to be a ton of Shibarium projects that are going to add utility. Tons. How about SERP? That's another one on your list there. And what they're building, the perpetual DEX, NFAI, what they're building with Athena.
NFAI kind of going back to that AI segment, obviously, right? With Athena, their AI trading bot and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And apparently, I've heard about this Blaze token. I've seen people lighten up the chat a little bit. Now, admittedly, I've not dove into it, but apparently they're burning SHIB a little bit. I don't know if that's a Shibarium play per se.
Yep.
But they're burning SHIB. So I think what Koi and what apparently Blaze is doing, I think should be a blueprint. I think it should be a precedent set that anything launching on Shibarium, whether it's a token, a DApp, a business, integrate a SHIB burn. And I think that's only going to increase the likability of that app within the SHIB ecosystem. Because if you're directly helping Shiba Inu holders, more people are going to use it.
Absolutely.
So and I think for games too. I mean, think about all the games that could be built in Shibarium in that ecosystem.
Well, I don't think anybody's really considering that. Again, once you have a layer 2, anything can be built and deployed on that. NFT marketplaces, games, projects like Koyo and all that kind of stuff. And what a lot of people don't realize is that you're going to see versions of their respective, tokens launch on that respective blockchain. Right. So you have just like we saw with Arbitrum, a project will launch on Arbitrum and then they'll turn around and launch on the ETH side. And so I think you're going to see that as well. But I want to get back to that narrative you're talking about. I think you nailed it with, we're talking specifically about Shibarium, obviously the Shiba Inu ecosystem. And I think that Koyo set the stage for a real easy, simple, build it into your contract, help burn, and you will be embraced. And I think that you're starting to see that, like you said, Blaze and some of these others. I think that you'll start to see that as a centralized component or a theme,
Yeah. And I think, just kind of more macro here. I mean, people are, you could feel the temperature in the room. A lot of people are kind of losing their patience a little bit. I mean, it's so easy to let your emotions get the best of you during these times. I think 2022 was brutal for everything and everybody. And just take a step back, guys, and have a plan. Like I've been saying this a lot, Austin. I don't know if you've been saying this as well a lot. Like, guys, like long-term vision. Like we've always said, like 2025 and beyond with SHIB. Like we were in a worse spot 6 months ago.
Right.
It feels like we're in a worse spot now. And I know part of that is people are losing patience because they want Shibarium out now. I get that. Right. But for me, it's, this is basically everything the ecosystem will be for the next decade. So as long as it takes, let's just get it right before we roll it out. You know? So
I agree. Okay, Zach, I'm going to say one word to you. I'm going to throw up a chart and I'm going to throw in you a curveball. You don't know what I'm about to say, and I want you to go. So you get ready. Just, brace yourself.
Is this going to be like a crypto?
Yeah, it's one word. Get ready. Yeah. Okay, that's good. I like how you're getting ready with the hat, and the hair. Notice notice I got the hair and the man does not. Okay, here's your one word.
By the way, and
there you go. All right, here's the one word. XRP. Go.
Revolutionary technology that, if they defeat the SEC, will skyrocket in price. But it's amazing they're still a top 6 crypto, even though they've been held up in a lawsuit in the last 2 years.
What do you think we're going to see? When are we going to see the judgment? How do you think it's going to go down? All that kind of stuff.
I think we're not going to have a clear winner or loser.
Ooh,
I think it's going to be.
He went there.
I think it's going to be a stalemate when it's all said and done. I think they're going to pay a fine, and it'll essentially be very anticlimactic, and XRP will go on to do unbelievable things, and they'll have a good relationship with the U.S. government.
So you think it'll be a no blood, mutually draw, if you will?
And the government will get their money because they essentially came out too soon without, the necessary I's dotted and T's crossed, and then they'll find a way to work together.
Do you think XRP will be designated as a security as part of this negotiated ceasefire, if you will?
That's a good point. I don't know.
And will they hug afterwards? I love that question.
will they embrace each other?
Will they all go out for a beer later? I don't think so. But no, I mean, but that's the question, right? If we have a mutually kind of negotiated, neither side wins, where does that security commodity thing come down? Because that, at the end of the day, is the $1 trillion question.
That's a great point. I mean, I guess that's probably the bigger thing than anything else. I mean, I'm gonna answer the question, I guess, with another statement because I don't know, but I think it's fascinating how the SEC and the CFTC look at Ethereum completely differently. The SEC deems Ethereum as a security, similar to how they see XRP,
because they want to control it. They want to manage it.
Yeah, the CFTC thinks about it as a commodity because they want to control it as a commodity.
Yes.
So, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, how many cryptos are there?
Well, let's get the exact number. Hold on.
And how many new cryptos are created every day?
Oh, it's insane.
What are you going to do with that?
There are 20, as of CoinMarketCap, there are 20. I'm sorry. I hit a button. Apologize. I'll quit it, Austin. 23,777 cryptos right now. And there are hundreds or more created daily.
What are you going to do with that?
I don't know the answer to that. Because
I really think it deserves its own asset class.
Well, here's the thing.
And I think Bitcoin is a commodity. I think everything else should be labeled something completely different.
Well, what we're really talking about, though, is who's heading up the SEC? Is it, if it needs to be somebody that's so not anti-crypto. Let's call it what it is. And
Yeah.
and whether that landscape changes and all that, that's a whole other that's a whole other discussion. But I think it's about control, right? And I think the final thought on XRP, I think the issue is going to be what is defined at. I actually agree with you to an extent that XRP, the SEC lawsuit, I think that will be, I literally think that's what they're doing. And yes, I know the judge is there and all that kind of stuff, but I think behind closed doors, I think they're meeting to try to make it go away. And the SEC is saying, they're saying without saying, this is my, we want to do this without getting any proverbial egg on our face, if you will. Right.
Yeah. And I think if this wasn't XRP, it'd be over.
Because XRP had the money to fight them. And
they're going to pay over $100 million.
Yeah.
Just
the SEC thought they would just roll over them. Right. And because that's why I love that it was Ripple that they ended up getting in this dogfight with, because ironically, Ripple had enough capital and cash flow to be able from global worldwide operations to be able to fight it.
Yep. And now it's become the precedent that will be, the answer to security versus commodity. At least we think it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
All right, let's talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and what I want to talk about specifically about Bitcoin and Ethereum, Zach, is investment strategy and kind of talking about a good diversification scenario there. So I'm going to let you take that, and I'll throw up the Bitcoin and the kind of and the Ethereum, right here, there's these do. So what's your 2 cents as far as kind of like investment strategy, Bitcoin, Ethereum, large caps, small caps, all that kind of stuff?
So I'll preface this by saying this is my strategy, but I think every strategy is different depending on how much money you have to start with, how much money you make, how much money you plan to make, how old you are, right? There's a lot of things that go into this.
Okay.
And we're not financial advisors, so just, that's all said out front. But I like to say having 60 to 70% in Bitcoin and Ethereum as a backbone in your portfolio as a long-term investment is a good idea. That's kind of my philosophy, because then you always have, think about it. Bitcoin and Ethereum make up 60 some odd percent of the overall market.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make your overall crypto portfolio 60 some odd percent, right? So that's the way I look at it, like logistically. Then it's what else in the top 100 do you like? And try to get a mix, right? I like to try to get gaming in there, AI in there, some layer 2s, Polygon.
You're talking about now go down to category level?
Yeah, XRP, global payments, right? They're number one there. That might not be a terrible idea. L2s, Polygon, they're number one there. Cardano, one of the top altcoins, doing something completely different than Ethereum is. Nice little alternative investment, right? I don't want to give away the whole portfolio. SHIB, it's something completely different. Still a top 15, totally different sector. Gala Games, pretty big, something totally different, right? So that's where I like to kind of get a nice piece of some big things in different sectors. Then whatever's left over, go have fun with in the Pepe space, the
meme coin,
Bob space. And
so if you had to, okay, so are you still there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, what I'm trying to do there is those are normally not long-term plays, not as long-term as Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? You might keep a moon bag, as Crypto Wendy says, which I like that, right? But get your money, make your money while you can, because a lot of those cryptos, they will not be here.
Right.
Point, period. They won't be. They're here for a good time, not a long time.
So bring it back to percentages. So let's say, out of 100%, and I'll even give you a number. Let's say I have $5,000. And so take that $5,000 and give me kind of percentage breakdown. You said 60, 70% would be, let's just say 60% is divvied up between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And would you do an even split there, or would you lean towards one more side?
Honestly, if I'm starting with $5,000, that's not a huge number.
Okay.
I'll tell you this straight up. I started with $7,000. Now,
back in the day,
in 2021, I went right into Dogecoin with all of it.
I didn't know that.
With all of it. And I bought it at 1 cent and it went to 7 cents, and I sold, and I thought I was a genius. Of course, it went to 70 cents.
I have never known that story. You've never told me that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
7x, and now I had turned 7 into 49.
Okay. For those
right?
of you watching, don't do what he just said. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Because I could have very easily lost all 7. And
but that was before you really were in crypto. You just went, I'm just going to do this, right?
And I got lucky that we were in a bull run.
Okay. So there you go.
I got lucky that we were in a bull run, and I did it at the right time, and all those sort of things. But basically what I'm trying to say is, starting with $5,000, you don't have a ton to really play with. I'd be looking to maybe allocate like $2,000 of that into some new tokens, new launches. I would. If you're looking at that $5,000 and saying, okay, I'm willing to take some risk here. If you're looking to set it and forget it,
yeah.
If you're looking to set it and forget it, I mean, hell, I would buy 2 ETH. Wait, what's ETH right now? Yeah, you can get 2 ETH right now and just set it and forget it.
Okay,
your $5,000. I mean, and then take the extra 1,000 and play with it. I wouldn't even invest in Bitcoin because you can get 2 full ETH, sit on it for 10 years, and that's going to be a great return, we think, right? Then opposed to putting that in the stock market.
You're talking about percentage move up, but also what you're talking about is also risk, and I think age, right? I mean,
you want to set it and forget it and not deal with it at all.
Yeah. So I think you have to look at how old are you, how much risk are you willing to accommodate. Like you may look at that and go, all right, I got $5,000. Okay, I'm willing to take on more risk, and I'm willing to take $2,000 of this, and I'm going to go put it on some new emerging meme tokens. Going into it eyes wide open, but I think it's risk. I think it's risk assessment, how risk averse you are. Being north of 50, I would probably not be as risk to that. I'd probably do more like, okay, instead of 2,000, I might take 1,000 and go, okay, I'm going to go take 250, and put it on 5 meme tokens or whatever. If again, risk, right? I think that's really what it comes down to.
And I think the biggest mistake people make is they have $5,000 to play with, and they put it all into,
in Dogecoin, like you did back in the day.
But I mean, at least Dogecoin was like somewhat big, been around.
And I'm not slamming Dogecoin,
But here's the point. You don't need to put that much in if you're going to hit big. I mean, what did you put in, Bob?
$500.
What did it turn into?
40,000.
40,000. Right now, that's not going to happen all the time, but you could do 5 or 6 of those.
Well, and I've sold the story
to take profit out.
Yeah.
As soon as it 2x's, because a win's a win. People are always trying to get the 100x.
Yeah.
If you get 100 2x's,
but
you know what I mean?
But again, go back to what we were saying. So I know you're transitioning into that, right? But what we both did is we looked at that and went, we're going to take a couple $1,000s or whatever it was, and we're going to go buy 8 or 9 brand new tokens that just came out. We were a little bit late into Pepe. We were right there when Bob launched, and we threw money at Bob before there was a website, before there was anything. And so we did 8 or 9 of tokens like that, Baby Pepe, Sneed, all those. Out of those 8 or 9, 2 of them were straight up rugs. And I always tell that story. And we both looked at that and went, we could lose every single dollar. So we had 2 rugs. We had 3 or 4 that were like, they went backwards for a while, and a couple of them have gone backwards forever. And a couple of them now we're back to even. And then we had 2 winners, which was Sneed and Bob. And then outside of that, we both put money into Pepe as well. And that's turned out to be okay. Yeah. But I think that's the key narrative of what I really want people to understand is that we could have lost every dollar of that in those meme tokens.
And we were willing to do that.
Correct. And by the way, it was, we have our base portfolios over here where we own Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we're diversified and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I've been sitting on my Cardano, Algorand, you name it, right? Shiba, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I mean, that stuff we don't mess with. Those are long-term. And here's the thing with those, I've got my certain price points where I like to add to them. Like when Cardano last year dipped down below 30 cents, I was loving it. Polygon right now down below $1, love it. Shiba, when it gets back to that 0, goes to 5 zeros. Yep, give me all that, right? You could do that too, but I mean, what's happening right now is the market got super boring. How long will all this volume last in Pepe and there's no telling, right? That's why take profits along the way. Take profits along the way.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's end on that note. Thanks for your time. Thanks for stopping by. Definitely hit that subscribe button, drop a like. And Zach, thanks for a few minutes of your time, man. We'll see you guys later. Go make some money. Take care.
See you guys.